Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the award-winning Great Indoors is proud to come to the fabulous Las Vegas Convention Center, MWC 2022. Baby, let's make it amazing.
Thank you once again, Frank. Yes, this is season 5 of TGI, and here in Las Vegas at the GSMA's biggest show in North America, we are proud to be the official podcast. I have been joined by a multitude of guests from across the industry the last few days, and including, of course, my producer and co-pilot, Larissa Yee. Now, this is the 8th episode, can't believe it, featuring some of the incredible conversations that we captured at North America's biggest telecoms and technology show. And in this episode, I'll be speaking with some fascinating gentlemen from ZenFi Networks and from NTT. So from ZenFi, we sat down with LaChance, the co-founder and CEO of ZenFi Networks, and Mr. Walton Cannon, the Vice President of Business Development. And then I'll also be speaking with 2 senior leaders from NTT, Syam Madanapalli, the Solutions and Service Line Director at NTT Data Services, and Parm Sandhu, the VP of Enterprise and 5G Products and Services. Now, as you know, if you tune into this show, we speak a lot about bridging the digital divide and how a light was shone on that during the pandemic and beyond. So today's question is, can high-quality connectivity be a public service? So let's buckle up and get started. So my next guests on the Great Indoors 2022 here from fabulous Las Vegas are LaChance, co-founder and CEO of ZenFi Networks, and Walter Cannon, Vice President of Business Development at ZenFi. So welcome to the Great Indoors, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us, man.
Tell us a little bit about ZenFi, what you guys do, what your modus operandi is, and why you're at the show this week.
Sure. So ZenFi is a New York regional digital infrastructure player. We provide fiber optic network, edge data centers, and wireless siting solutions, primarily focused at the mobile operators, traditional mobile MNOs, as well as the MVNOs, the virtual network operators.
Yeah.
We provide physical space power connectivity so they can place small cells in the public right away, on light poles, on street furniture, and the like. And we also provide what we call virtual infrastructure, is where we put our own radios up. Today it's a Wi-Fi network that we provide offload and roaming services to mobile operators, both virtual and traditional mobile operators. So the offload services for the big guys that just need extra capacity,
right.
And for the MVNOs that don't have physical infrastructure, they roam on our infrastructure. It's a pervasive citywide network. We're the only public Wi-Fi network in Manhattan itself.
Wow.
And we operate a couple thousand access points today, and we have a plan to grow that to over 4,000 to 5,000 over the next year to 2 years. So one other notable point, and then Walter probably will expand on this, we partnered up with an entity called CityBridge, or Link NYC. They're a pervasive street furniture play in New York, where they provide advertising kiosks on the street. Wow. And at each one of those advertising kiosks, we have fiber connections, dark fiber connections, and we have Wi-Fi access points at each of them. We struck a deal with the City of New York to allow us to put up 32-foot structures in the streets that are beautiful. We call them the smarter smart poles, right? They're nice, elegant structures that have human interface so you can do lookups on, passersby can stop at these things and they can use these tablets that are integrated, and there's advertising screens on them. So they're great functional assets for the city to get public information out there, as well as advertisers can advertise. That's how it's monetized. And then the Wi-Fi piece, the expansion there is we're moving to a 5G infrastructure using these assets in the public right away. So that's an interesting project that we've been really focused on for the past year or two. Walter's heavily involved in the digital equity piece of this, or the so maybe you can comment more on that.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is to take advantage of this platform that we've created, When we initially set out to create the company ZenFi, we created a platform that had to be integrated, space, power, and connectivity. And now we're starting to expand on that through this Link NYC platform that's been attached on top, that's riding on top of it.
Right.
One of the biggest things that we're doing is we're creating what we call gig centers, with basically free Wi-Fi in a social center throughout the one in every borough of New York City.
Right.
And it's available to the public. No one pays for it. It's there. Some of the facilities run 24 hours.
Wow.
We are also working with digital community leaders to promote programming. So that we just didn't put up free Wi-Fi in a hotel somewhere. So we actually are promoting programming, working with them to go after federal and state funding to actually have real programming. We've done a lot of this all on our own, helping to support them and have programs, but it's been small, it's sporadic. We want to have a daily process going, because there's a lot of resources that are out there that can help start planning curing some of the issues that we see in the digital divide.
Yeah.
But it's really all about the knowledge and the access to it. And a lot of people don't have access to it. So we're also working with them to promote this programming on the actual Link NYC structure so they can run ads. We've done ads that are focused in, let's say, the Bronx or in Brooklyn or in Queens, or citywide ads. That's available for any small community, whether it's a bodega or, or a social programming. You can use them. So we use it to promote that as well.
Wow, that's fascinating. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you're providing free Wi-Fi in New York City, but you're also using the infrastructure with the ads to promote social initiatives to go hand in hand with that.
Yes.
That's right. And, I think some of the stats are really important. We've had 11 million users register to use the free Wi-Fi system.
Wow.
So that's pretty significant. And last month we had about 5 million Wi-Fi sessions across the network. Right now we're up to about 1.5 petabytes a month of traffic across our network, which is really significant. We expect to grow to the year going forward 18 petabytes of data. It's a lot of traffic, and it's provided as free. The way we monetize it is, we give away the free Wi-Fi, and we provide this, for instance, the ad support that he was for small businesses, and as part of the community equity, we call them equity areas, where we're trying to support the digital divide initiatives, but and then we monetize it through roaming and offload.
Oh, okay, right.
So,
along with ads, do you get government support to enable?
We do not. It's a public-private partnership. Right. We actually pay the city for the right to do this. They collect. Our consortium has paid the city somewhere north of $60 million in the past 5-6 years for the right to do this. So we have to monetize it, of course, to pay those. They're called franchise fees. Yeah.
Wow. And obviously there's a lot of buzz at this show this week, particularly about 5G. I mean, you can't get from 5G anywhere. How does 5G change your business model?
That's it's a core fundamental piece of why we're in business. We started again with space, power, and connectivity. Light poles, front haul fiber back to a colo, and then backhaul back to core. Command and control. That was the fundamental business we got in. We did this initially for 4G infrastructure, but with an eye on how this is going to morph into a 5G infrastructure. So those underlying elements create a supporting environment for the big operators to put their small cells out and their antennas out. Our product, Link 5G, this new tower, the 32-foot tower, has got 5 transmission bays up top. At the 30-foot rad center, it's really focused on millimeter wave radios. We have antenna for shared antennas in there. We have spots for other integrated radios or split radios. We have equipment bays. It's really packed with technology and space and interesting. Our goal is to have one of these on every corner, or every few street corners, where the mobile operators can host all of their gear, and it's all 5G gear if we can get it. There's supply chain issues, nobody. But once we, as it comes in, we're It's really 5G focused.
Awesome.
So that front haul fiber goes back to colos where they do baseband processing. The typical C-RAN infrastructure.
And obviously you monetize this, and it sounds fascinating. But one of the things, I met two people yesterday, Dr. Kaisha King from T-Mobile, who's all about bridging the digital divide, Jeff Wang from AT&T, who's tasked with that. But do you think, given what happened in COVID, it shone a light on the digital divide, do you feel now that there's an inherent obligation to serve these communities? And I guess the question is, it's no longer just about dollars and cents, right? There is a feeling that you're serving the greater good in those communities. And do you get feedback from them or the communities?
Yes, really interesting. If you look at New York, 30% of New Yorkers don't have cell service or broadband service in their homes.
Wow, yeah.
So there's a huge digital divide in New York. And this is something that the partnership we got in with the city to do this Link NYC initiative was really focused on closing the digital divide, right? So they said, look, we'll let you do this, we'll let you monetize it, but we want you to go to what we call equity areas or underserved communities. And if you're going to build in Midtown Manhattan, you're going to do you do one in Midtown, and you're going to do 4 in the underserved communities.
I see, right,
yeah.
Okay, right.
So
yeah.
we have to do 740 sites. We committed to build 2,000 more sites. It's going to be about 4,000 in total because we've built over 2,000.
Right.
The next 2,000, 80% of them, or no, actually 90% of them are outside of Manhattan, or in, above 96th Street in Manhattan, where there are equity areas, and the other boroughs, right? So the deal we made is the byproduct of us being able to monetize is that we're building in the areas that there's only the ILEC, Verizon's there, and the cable operator might be there, but none of the other fiber operators have built there. There's very little infrastructure. Now, do we like it? Yes, we're starting to love this. We're loving the support we're getting from the politicians. Walter's been really instrumental in working with the communities and the community districts to get support. We've had press events with the mayor where people have turned out and thanked us on the news. The news has interviewed people and they've thanked us for what we're doing because we've had commentary from people saying, look, I don't have a cell phone, I don't have broadband in my house. I'm using the link that's out on the street to connect with their iPad that they have. And that's their only means of connectivity. So we're getting a lot of support on this thing. It's really interesting.
We actually have had people come in and say they're getting it in their house.
Right.
Our service from the street
into their house, in their apartment, and they're like, it's not going away. It's not going to.
The ultimate cord cutting, right?
No, exactly. I think if with these inflationary pressures we're seeing, I think everyone would appreciate that for sure. Yeah. You're working in New York City. Are you seeing demand or potential other opportunities in other cities across the United States that you're looking at?
Yeah, of course. And so we're not just in New York City. We're northern New Jersey and New York City. It's a huge market, though, with density, right? A lot of people. And I always used to say when we're done with New York, we'll move on to these other markets. The reality is that we just signed a deal in July to sell our business to BAI Communications.
Right.
They're a global infrastructure player, which I assume you know.
Yeah.
They own wireless infrastructure and transit systems in the public right of way and venues.
Right.
We're a nice fit for them for their U.S. operations.
Right.
So we signed that deal in July. We should close. We're hoping, fingers crossed, close by the end of the year. They loved our model in New York, and there's going to be great opportunity to take it across the country and across the globe. Frankly, they're in Asia, they're in Europe, they're obviously in Australia, they're in the U.S. So we're very excited because what we're doing in the dense urban canyons of New York City will work in other cities that have, maybe not the same density, but density, that have the same challenges, because 5G doesn't work from a macro rooftop or a tower site in a dense urban environment. You have to get close to the user. You have to get street level with fiber and pole top installs, and they're every block. You can't do it the way you do in the suburbs and in rural environments. They need our CRAN infrastructure, and they need our expertise to put assets on the street in the public right away.
Right. Wow. Excellent. And what have you guys seen at the show this week that's been interesting for you guys? Anything?
I just got here.
It's not necessarily a great question for me either, because I did get here last night. But I do know what I'm going to look at. What I've always done with Mobile World, and specifically in Barcelona. I mean, I love Walter and I have been going to Barcelona for that show for 12 years or so. And we haven't missed it. And we always look for new emerging technologies and things we could bring to our market. And we found things at Mobile World that we've brought back to our offices, batted around the technology and adopted and have deployed. And many of the things that we're doing within our organization came from things we found in Mobile World. So, this used to be CTIA, right? I guess, right? We look at it as the tech show. The show, we don't go to see customers, we go to see vendors, and we go to learn about technologies. And then we use other shows for going to see customers. This is our R&D show, really.
No, and it's good that it's back in Las Vegas, right? I mean, it was in LA the last couple of years. And it was always a difficult city with accommodation and the traffic and everything, but it's great to be here. So look, I really enjoyed the conversation. It's fascinating what you guys are doing. I finished now with the multiple choice TGI to go round, and this just is a bit more of fun, right? I'm going to ask you the same question, and you just give me your preference, okay?
Oh boy.
TGI to go.
First question: Frank Sinatra or Dean Martin?
Dean Martin.
I'm a Dean Martin guy.
That's it. That's amazing. No one said Dean Martin yesterday, and everybody.
I should
said
be
Dean
a
Martin
Frank
today.
Sinatra because I live in New Jersey. He's from New Jersey.
Right.
I still like Dean Martin.
But at 3:00 we have Frank Sinatra here singing.
Oh.
Yeah, people will be like, the real Frank Sinatra. I'm like, there's limits our technology can take us. But here's one local for you guys: Jersey Shores or Martha's Vineyard.
Oh my God, that's easy. Martha's Vineyard.
I don't like either.
He's a Jersey guy too.
Yeah.
I've been in Jersey Shore in 20, 30 years. Definitely, if I have to go somewhere, I'll go to Martha's Vineyard. I prefer the Caribbean, Brazil.
I don't even understand this next question, but you might. Gyro or pizza?
Oh, gyro.
Yeah?
No, wait a minute. I'm a pizza guy though.
Okay. What is gyro?
A gyro.
A hero. The lamb sliced and the
Oh, like a shawarma.
Yeah, like a shawarma, but
Like
it's
a
longer
kebab.
strip.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as bad pizza. So pizza.
I'm a pizza guy. Especially during COVID, I perfected my dough.
Okay, nice. Here's a Vegas-related one: poker or blackjack?
We have to say what poker, but I still prefer the odds are better in blackjack.
I would say blackjack.
Yeah. And are you going to get a chance to play some blackjack while you're here?
I will. I'm staying through the weekend. So
Looking
forward to
nice.
it.
Enjoy.
Yep.
And our final question on TGI to go: hiking or swimming?
Can't smoke a cigar on either of those. So hiking, I guess.
Yeah, cool.
Hiking all the way. I love the outdoors. I love it.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for joining the Great Indoors.
Sounds great.
Okay, so here we are, the Great Indoors, back at MWC 2022 in Las Vegas, and I'm joined by a couple of distinguished guests from NTT Data Services. So we have Syam Madanapalli, Solutions Service Line Director at NTT Data Services, and Parm Sandhu, who's a Group Vice President for Enterprise 5G Products, and he'll explain a little bit more about that. But welcome to the Great Indoors, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Nice to talk to you again.
Excellent. So look, it's been a busy week. What have you seen, or what have you seen at the show, and what's happened in the last 12 months that you have found most profound?
First and foremost, it's nice to see the energy back. I mean, this is the first show for for many of us since post the shutdowns have been sort of eliminated. Last year was very different. We were all wearing masks and things that. So it's nice to see people back together, getting together and talking about new innovation that's occurring in the industry. For me, I think the most profound is that we're really now starting to see a lot about 5G last year, especially private cellular, private wireless networks were more around pilots and things. Now we're starting to see commercial deployments where companies are starting to see benefit and value, and the ecosystem on the devices is starting to definitely emerge and come forward. That's really what we're seeing, because we're really starting to focus on the business outcomes and insights.
Absolutely. Yeah, I observed one thing, probably I should say this. People are talking about the digital divide and sustainability. Yeah. I think they are focusing their solutions more towards the citizens and society. I think it's a great shift. I mean, I'm kind of very excited to see, all the companies talking about these two topics.
No, yeah, and on the podcast this week we had Dr. Kaisha King, who's responsible for the digital divide and specifically education at T-Mobile, and Jeff Luong from AT&T, who's the president of there. And they're putting everything into it, and it's really admirable, and it's making a huge difference.
Sure. I think digital divide is one of the things that we are doing. I'm sure Parm can talk about that. I think that's one of the topic for the Las Vegas.
We made the announcement, as you know, Shahid Ahmed, our EVP, was on stage at the keynote with the CIO of City of Las Vegas, Michael Sherwood, and this network, private cellular network, the CBRS network that the city is announced. NTT is working with them to expand that network and build that out and really bring services. And one of the key objectives of the city is to address the digital connectivity divide for education, but also for citizens who need internet access for digital healthcare. So I think with all of what we're seeing coming hopefully out of this pandemic, there's a lot of shortage of resources, people, staff. How do you enable that? More giving them access to services with less, which you have to have, but you still continue to service. So that's why connectivity is even become more paramount for these. So addressing that, and then also looking at how can you actually drive health outcomes, so reduce the burden on the healthcare system by making sure people can get their prescriptions and see the doctors even though they can't physically get there. That's an example. Same thing with students. I think that's become now the norm of remote education or education at home, to be able to leverage what's already been gained and let's not go back. Right? So I think that's a very important part, and we were really proud to be part of the journey that the city is on.
No, the announcement was incredible, and being in this city the last few days, that there's a certain innovation, a certain innovative vibe, right? You've been on the Las Vegas Loop, and this morning I met with the company Halo Car that does an autonomous taxi service. They have the license for it in Las Vegas. For you guys to be involved in building out a smart city and helping bridge the digital divide here is really cool. When do you plan to start, and how long is that project potentially going to roll for?
Well, I think the network's already live, and parts of it, and in areas, and key part, and so the project's starting now. Its expansion of it is key. So that's bringing services on, and these things take time. I mean, our team was out on Tuesday. I think we did a volunteer activity where we were setting up computers with modems. NTT was out there with for the kids, and just trying to get everyone set up with internet, which is amazing, right? So you don't realize how difficult it is still today to get connectivity. You would think it's so much easier for everybody, just pick up the phone and call, but there's a lot that has to happen before everyone can get it. So there's trying to close that gap is important.
And I think it's once you've got them the connectivity, I think the next stage from there is the adoption, right? So they can provide them the connectivity, but then it's encouraging the adoption, ensuring that they're comfortable with what they need and how to use it.
Yeah.
And that's key. Now tell us about the other announcement from you guys on IoT sustainability.
Sure. Yeah. So sustainability is is very important for us, as a society here. The reason is the carbon dioxide that we generate today would be in the environment for hundreds of years. That means we are going to affect the future of our children, right? I think all the businesses now understood this problem, and everybody kind of put certain goals for kind of meeting certain sustainability goals, right? So at NTT Data, we want to help those organizations how they can achieve their sustainability goals, especially how they can reduce their carbon emission, right? So as a company, NTT Data, we have the skill set all the way from the connectivity to cloud applications, driving the insights and helping the businesses to optimize their operations. So we have the full stack capabilities. So this is the solution that we have announced, wherein we'll be able to help the organizations bring their entire carbon inventory and then show what is their impact today on the environment in terms of the carbon dioxide equivalent, and then drive the insights to optimize their business operations so that they can reduce their carbon emission.
Yeah.
And of course, this is the big solution in terms of involves lots of technologies. We require lots of partnerships. So we are working with Microsoft to kind of develop an end-to-end solution and help the clients to reduce this carbon emission.
Oh, wonderful. And again, it's another great example of tech for good, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the things I've seen throughout the show this week. Everything that everybody's doing is not just about features and functions, right?
Yeah.
We've moved to talk about outcomes, and more specifically outcomes that better society and better and help fix some of the other problems facing humanity.
I always say, sustainability is great for the planet, but it's also good for the bottom line.
Yeah,
of course.
And I think at the end, so if we could reduce energy consumption, energy waste, resources waste in production facilities, and first it has to start by measuring. After measuring, getting the data and collecting the data, the second part is then being able to process that data. And every country, every business has set sustainability goals.
Yeah.
But how are they going to measure those goals? How are they going to analyze those goals? How are they going to see where they're actually, and they all have to start reporting, because it's become part of not just it's regulation, it's government policies, it's benefits the business. So you have, there's a financial component. So all of these SOX compliance, all of these things that have to happen.
Yeah.
So everyone's made now it's a question of the problem that industry has to solve is how do you measure it? Then how do you reduce, optimize it, and then how do you report it?
Yes. Yeah.
So what the other parts of our announcements were Edge as a service offering, which one was sustainability was a key part of it. The other part of it was then we also call our portfolio services. One is our Edge Compute offering, which is NTT's adaptive cloud to edge hybrid platform. So all of this data that's going to be generated at the factory floor or at the city, etc., has to be collected and processed and near the source.
Yes.
You don't want to send all of that data into a cloud when it only needs to run and analyze it and then quickly send the results, or we call them metadata.
Yeah.
So we announced NTT's Edge as a Edge Compute platform, which is our multi-cloud hybrid cloud edge platform, which is taking what NTT's been doing over many, many years in the cloud to now it's cloud agnostic, vendor agnostic. It supports it's Azure based with Microsoft as well as with VMware. So we have two versions of it. We can run these. Edge computing means a lot of things to people what edge is, but it's really computing capability, kind of similar to the cloud, but now running near where the data sources are. I mean, it could be any type of device. It could be a server in a compute server at the edge. So all of these things. So we've really launched that.
That's great.
Really excited about that. We have tremendous feedback from everyone with the volume of interest that we've seen. And then also our private 5G network. which we announced last year, and then our sustainability. So really excited. We were basically packaging all of these into what we call Edge as a Service.
No,
So, driving those outcomes.
Yeah. Because the way I always look at Edge is it's not a new technology, it's a location.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So you're taking that stuff, like you said, closer to where it needs to be.
Right.
And we talked about it, enabling driverless cars that need less than 5 milliseconds of latency, right?
Right.
Enabling those healthcare remote operating procedures.
Right.
Sometimes a little bit further out than we think.
yeah.
But
No, I saw a demonstration
know.
in Seattle, and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
I've spoken to a healthcare
Yeah.
IoT specialist this week who said, yeah, this is what we're working on right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But it needs that edge infrastructure, right, to enable it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, Edge is the gateway between the physical world and the virtual world, and
Yeah.
it's a very, very important piece of solution.
Mhm.
Without Edge, it's very difficult to kind of really deliver certain outcomes, especially if you need a real-time action, and which you cannot wait for the data to go to the cloud and take it, action
Yeah.
there and then come back to the physical world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it plays an important role.
I like that.
I like that analogy as well,
Yeah.
the gateway
Okay.
between the virtual and the physical.
That is
Yeah.
such a
Really
great.
cool.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never heard that before,
Yeah.
Syam. You
I-
should,
I
you should
haven't-
you should trademark
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay, I love that. I'm gonna use that if
You
that's
know,
okay with
yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Do you know what
Yeah,
came
no.
into my mind? Remember Stargate?
Yeah.
That science fiction, which was that bridgeway.
I know.
That's
That's such a great. I
Yeah.
love it. Okay,
We're
NTT
doing-
quoted this term for
Yeah.
Edge. It's
Yeah.
the gateway.
We're doing some marketing brainstorming here. I love it. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So listen, guys, we're almost out of time. I've really enjoyed speaking with you guys. It's been a fascinating discussion. We finished now with our TGI to go quickfire round. You may have heard it if you were listening to our
Sure.
previous guest. This is a bit of fun, multiple choice. I'll ask you both the same questions. You give me your preference, and it just helps our listeners understand our guests a little better. And also, it just means we end with a bit of a high note, a bit of
Good,
fun.
good.
TGI to go.
Okay, so first question, Parm, I'll ask you: Frank Sinatra or Dean Martin?
I've got to choose Dean Martin on that.
Okay, that's good.
I'll also go same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had Frank here this week actually, and you'll notice there's a certain
And it's only
Vegas
because
theme.
he was cool.
Yeah. He was good, wasn't he?
It was when
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
young. I was wearing,
Yeah.
that look, slick hair.
Chinese food or Italian food?
Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chinese, because I can make it as spicy as I want.
Yeah. But
Have you had a chance to enjoy some of the restaurants and eateries in Las Vegas this week?
yeah.
The one thing I noticed is that they're expensive, right? But there's some amazing restaurants here. This has elicited some strange responses this week. People have looked at me rather strange. Singing or dancing?
I like
Go ahead.
singing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I will choose dancing because my singing is terrible. And my
Okay.
dancing is not too bad, but at least I could fake it. I can't fake singing. So,
Roulette or craps? Now I gotta admit, I don't gamble. I don't play any of the gaming here in Las Vegas, but it's a Vegas question.
I'll say crap because
Yeah.
at least there's a chance I never win a roulette.
None of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
And country-wise, Japan or Italy?
I'm biased. I'm gonna go with Japan.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes. Yeah.
Japan. Yeah.
That's a career choice that you have to make on that question, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. And being both Canadians, right? I'm in Vancouver, so very close. But I was in Italy and I had it just after. It was my first vacation spot since after things opened up.
Okay.
And it was beautiful. Like I really enjoyed the food and everything you said. I was like,
Yeah.
I think I must have came back like 10 pounds heavier.
I used to go to Korea. I've never been to Japan. I used to work in South Korea a lot at LG Electronics. But you're both based in Canada.
No, I'm in Canada.
Okay.
I'm based in Plano,
Okay.
Texas.
Oh,
Yes.
right. Excellent. Okay. Great. Well, listen, I've really enjoyed meeting you guys, and we could speak for hours and hours, and I'm glad you've had a great week. Your announcements have been very prominent. I've really enjoyed speaking to you. I have a new marketing phrase now. I hope
Yeah.
you don't mind if I use that internally.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Please go ahead.
Before you copyright that or patent it, for at
I
least.
love that.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
think it's
easiest way
really
to
great.
describe it.
So Graham, thank you very much for joining the Great Indoors, guys, and hopefully we'll see you next year.
What a great episode, and I think this particular topic we will continue to talk about as we move forward in the future. We've only just begun on bridging that divide, and it's great to hear what some of the companies in this domain are doing to bridge that. So stay tuned for more, and also check out amdocs.com/The Great Indoors for more information, back episodes and videos associated with TGI. I'm Matthew Roberts in Las Vegas for Amdocs, and I'll see you next time, wherever you are.